love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union. Hello comrades, and welcome back to the Ushanka Show. Today there's another video that I had in my video archive. It was actually filmed by my brother a couple years ago, actually more than a couple years, 4 years ago, in 2014 in June. This is a little farm that my mother has in Ukraine. If you watch my shows, you probably know by now that even if I was born and grew up in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, both of my parents came out of the countryside. My father came from Zhytomyr region, which is kind of western side of Ukraine, and my mother came from Chernigov region, which is northern part of Ukraine. And so like it's pretty much we have about 20 more miles, and there'll be a border between Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. So my mother moved to Kiev after she finished high school in the village, and many years later she decided she wanna go back to her home village. My brother got married, and since the people, look at that Colorado potato bug. So we have two women in the same kitchen. Since people don't have a lot of money, she moved in, so now we had two families sharing an apartment, and my mom couldn't handle it really well, so she asked me if I can help her. And unfortunately, the house that we used to own in this village was in complete despair. I'll add a little video to show you how it looked after this video. So I told her, like, well, I'll just see if you can find something, let me know how much, and I'll try to help you to purchase. So she did find this house. It was built in 1950s. It's a little bit unusual because most houses in that village and in the northern Ukraine, generally it's like a log cabin built out of logs, and our old house was built out of logs. This one was actually built out of brick. I'm trying to think about English word for it, but it's rakushechnik, so that, they mined. It's kind of like a rock, which is old shells that they had compressed, and they cut bricks out of it, and that's what the house built from. So now my brother's showing, this is the garden that my mom has. Every house in Soviet Union and still now, you could have a 0.4 hectare of land for growing your crops. So my mom got that with the house, and that's what she grows. You could see corn, there's dill, different salads, onions, whatever. She really enjoys gardening, and now since she's retired and has all the time on her hands, she works every day in the garden and keeps it really neat. So this is my brother sent me a report, and you could see how far it goes, and then it stops. So actually she could use even, she cut down quite a bit. This is the outhouse. Even in the modern times, most people out in the villages, they don't have indoor plumbing. People use in outhouses, and now my brother is showing, this is a red currant. So there's a black currant, and this is a red currant, and it looks like he's really enjoying it. That stuff is tart and delicious. Those berries, mostly people eat them fresh, and sometimes you can make a jelly. So, as I said, my mom's, when she found this house, I was in America, so I said, like, I'll just trust you. Hope you can find a decent place. As I said, this house is a little bit unusual for the northern Ukraine, and it's quite large. It has two big rooms, roof made out of the cement, like tiles, so-called chili pizza, which is really heavy. Not really good roofing type of product, but it is what it is. So now my brother is approaching. Still showing different items in the garden. Looks like those are peas. And you got some onions going. A little storage shed. And now we're walking inside. So that's my mom when she sits on the bench and enjoys the view. I guess my brother helped her to build the bench, so he's probably showing it off. And beside the house, there's a couple outbuildings. So people used to have a cow and a couple of pigs. And so you see, like, this is built out of logs, and this is the house itself. So yes, she found it, and the total cost was $2,000, which sounds really ridiculously cheap. But if you remember, for example, my mom's pension right now, it's about $70 a month. So for the people who make, $70 to $100 a month, and there's a cold storage, so-called pogreb. So I'm gonna show you what's going on in there. That's instead of refrigerators, people used cold storage cellar, right? Trying to show it, but it's too dark. So as I said, my mom. It sounded ridiculously cheap for me, but for her, of course, she was never able to afford it with her pension. So we bought that house. People passed away and it was empty for several years. So she had a lot of work to do. Then when I came to visit later, I think this is the next summer after I came to visit, because I also paid for the new windows. So now he's showing these new plastic windows. The old windows were made out of wood, and they were quite poor condition. So you see the house still outside needs to be painted. And this is what the materials look like. There's those rakushechnik, big large blocks of brick, that old ancient shells, seashells on the seashore. Of course, people usually don't mow grass. My brother's showing right now all the challenges they had while installing the windows, because apparently there was a giant gaps, so they had to add additional things. But yeah, my first winter my mom spent in that building was really bad, because windows were just like letting all the cold air in. And now we walk inside of the house. So there's a little like a summer kitchen. My mom has a little electric stove. There's another little room. Of course, different stuff my mom stores. Potatoes, maybe. And as I said, there's no indoor plumbing. There's no running water. There is no... Oh, those are bottles. The previous owners were hard drinkers, and they found a bunch of empty bottles in the loft. And there's no heat, there's no central heat or gas heat, so my mom needs to use a wood-burning stove. There's my brother. He's 15 years younger than me. His name is Artyom. And here's my mother, Elena. And interestingly, see her sweater, it had USA on it, but she had to fix it because people were giving her a hard time. So you see, she kind of sew it so it doesn't look like USA. She made it look, S look like 8. Because some people were anti-American mood. So this is the second room. There's a little bed, that couch turns to bed. Now he's showing all the stuff that he added for the windows. Of course, there's an icon on the left. Every person usually have an icon on the left corner there to protect the house. So this is what how the houses look in the villages in Ukraine. As I said, there's no heat, so you need to burn wood to keep places warm. And of course, my mom kind of purchasing different furnitures if someone is selling around. There was some old lady passed away, and her daughter was selling off her stuff. So now we'll go back in the first room, and this is that wood burning stove he just kind of showed on the right, pech. And there's my mom. That's her setup, how the things are done. I apologize, my brother kind of was moving really too fast, showing everything, but he wanted to kind of like show general view of everything what's going on around. And across the fence, that little privacy fence, there's the neighbors. So this is a couple of buildings that my mom stores firewood in the winter. She buys like a truckload of wood, and then some that's chopped and some she has to chop. Of course, no one mows grass. She just kind of like keeps it down. And this is a little gate and the door going outside on the street. And then she made some pretty flowers and used some tires to make little flower beds. We worked on the street to trim it down. It was overgrown, so he kind of shows all the things we did. And I think he said the last winter the tree fell and ripped the wire, so he showed what the spot they replaced the wire. That's a little fence, and that's how the outside looks to face in the street. It used to be like a special treatment around the windows. You see those, you pointing the fingers, but we removed it. It was made out of wood, and wood was pretty rough. And that's how the roof looks like. So I said it's this heavy cement shingles, so-called chili pizza. And that's what we would like to replace one day, but they gave us pretty high priced quote to replace it. To replace the roof, they actually asked $2,000. So you buy the house with the lot for $2,000, and then just to replace the roof, people wants $2,000. There's my mom. Of course, she got the lines to dry her clothes. She washes everything by hand. What she got there? Now look, she got some, it's a pike, isn't it? Somebody caught some fish and she purchased some fish. So she's washing up, getting ready for cooking. Yeah. My mother was born in 1948, so this year she turned 70. Worked all her life, lost all her savings when the Soviet Union collapsed, when they froze bank accounts. And now she's back to her roots in the village that she grew up, enjoying her busy lifestyle. She likes to be busy, and she said she was going nuts in the city because there was nothing to do. She was just, needing and just because there's no money in the cities, of course, everything twice more expensive. So she was really happy to move and to be on her own and do her own thing. And they said prices for groceries, like milk and everything else, is literally 50% less out in this village than in the big city. So yeah, this is the lifestyle of a regular person in Ukraine. And we'll show you in a second how we get the water out of the well, and then we'll show you also how our old house looked like that me and my brother kind of went to see, to check it out, have a little memory trip back in time. So this is what I helped my mom to purchase in Ukraine. So she came to visit us in America once, and she didn't like it here. And here you could see, this is our old house. That's pretty bad shape, as you can see. People removed windows. One of our relatives, she noticed that people started having parties there, drinking and stuff, so she was afraid that they might set it on fire, so she removed all the floors. Classic log cabin look. And this street is completely abandoned, like there's no even power anymore. They removed even electric lines. So yeah, it's stripped bare now. The wood burning stove that was inside collapsed from being, not used for a long time. So also was 2 rooms, pretty small house. And it makes me very, very sad because this is the place I grew up in. I spent my best summers with my grandparents. And some people ask, why don't we just take it apart and move it? But it's old wood. It was never treated, so in bad shape. But yeah, this is the house that my grandparents lived, and which house where my mother grew up, and now it's just one of many abandoned homes. Just sit there on that empty street. You know, just there's no one there now. So, anyways, made me very sad. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the show. As always, don't forget to share this video with your friends and on social media. And I appreciate your support. Thank you very much for everyone who helps me with Patreon.com. And I appreciate your donations. I will talk to you soon. Goodbye. Alright kids, now I want to show you how we get water here in the village. So this is our well. Open the door. Got the bucket, and there's the water way down there. See that? And do this, and the bucket goes down. Oops. Now it's full of water. Now we're getting it up. Every time you get water in the drain, you know. Right back. I'll see you soon.